and welcome to Harpening. Today is the fourth video of the month, which means we're going to do some creative harping. Last week I taught you the tune Allen die willen naar Island gaan, and this week we're going to use part of the bass pattern of that tune to make our own music. You can improvise or compose on the bass pattern, and I'll show you how to do this. Let's get going! Before we start, let's put our harps in the key of E minor, which means that the F is a sharp, F sharp, and we have the normal levers. So in this, my harp is tuned with an A and a B and the E lever up, so I have those plus the F sharp. The beginning of the bass pattern in last week's tune was E, C, A, and then the B, which got repeated. Now this pattern is really nice to actually improvise upon or make your own tune from. You can play this bass pattern just by using one finger, but that makes it more complicated when you also have to do something in your right hand. So I would recommend that you first practice this bass pattern until it gets really easy. What you can do is put 3 fingers down, thumb on E, second on C, third finger on A, play E and C, put your second finger on the B and your thumb on the E, and then play A, B. So go like this, E, C, put your fingers back, A, B, and you can just play this in a loop. The first thing we're going to do is do a rhythmical improvisation, and you would only need 2 strings for that in the right hand. So your right hand would start on the E, which is the same that your left hand starts on. You can play this E with the 3 first notes of your bass pattern. So it would be like this, which sounds good. Then you get to the B in the bass, and here you would make a choice, either go up to the F, or I'm going to do it again, E, go down to the D, which also sounds good. The easiest version I just showed you, which is just play together with what your left hand is doing. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can keep going. And I'm already improvising because I'm deciding on the spot whether I'm going to the D or to the F sharp. Now if I'm going to end this, I'll end it on the first note again. So I end it on E. Of course, rhythm-wise, that is not very exciting, so we could do more than that. I just kept the improvisation in the 2 beats that are used for the song that I taught you last week. And in that case, we could maybe do the rhythm that is actually in the song. It went like dee 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 dee. So the rhythm would be ba da 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 da. It has these little skip beats in it, so it would sound something like this. There's many more possibilities for rhythm improvisations. I've just improvised on 2 beats in a bar, but you could also do 3 beats, which would then sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. is one of the basic components that you really need to work on when you start improvising. Especially if you're improvising on your own and nobody else is providing the rhythm for you. It's very important to have a steady rhythm. When you're unsure whether you're keeping rhythm, a good way to start is by counting along or putting a metronome on, just to keep you steady. And the modern metronomes that you can download on your phone, it's very easy to just put one beat a little bit louder or a different tone than the other one, so you know that you're always playing on the first beat. It's important to practice this because once you start playing with other people, this will really help you stick to their rhythm. And when people start listening to you, they kind of expect this sort of ongoing rhythm thing that you have in music. And if you start skipping beats or adding beats, it's going to be really noticeable. If you do it once, it might not be noticeable, but if that's how you play, then at a point it's going to sound really chaotic. Rhythm and sticking to a beat is very important when you start improvising. Rhythm provides structure to what you're doing. So if you decide that you're going to improvise on 3 beats in a bar, then it's best to really stick to those 3 beats and to practice that. If you want to do 4, fine too. 6, just decide and try and stick to it. If you have trouble sticking to the same rhythm, the best way to practice is either by counting out loud together with what you're playing. And if that is unsure for you, then maybe use a metronome. Modern metronomes that you download on your phone can actually usually be put to give a different sound on the first beat of the bar than on the second and third. So that makes it easy for you to hear whether you're still in the same rhythm. This is not to say that rhythm doesn't change sometimes while you're improvising or in a piece, but it's very good to make that a conscious decision. And in order to make it a conscious decision, you need to know which rhythm you're in and which rhythm you're keeping steady. Just like playing from sheet music or playing by ear, improvisation is something that can be practiced and that you can get good at once you do it more often. Personally, when I started improvising, the most difficult thing was to just keep going, because in the beginning it didn't really sound good for me. I discovered, however, that once I started playing for other people, what I thought might not have been nice, other people really enjoyed. One of the things that helped me was to put a timer on and just tell myself, after I've done my exercises for practicing, I will do 5 minutes of improvisation. It turned out that once I got through the first 3-4 minutes of improvising, I would start enjoying it and seeing the fun of it and trying out different things. And I would actually keep going even after the timer went off. So my tip to you for improvising is to actually keep going, put a timer and just do it. Even when you feel like it doesn't sound like anything, it'll get better and you'll get more used to doing it. Now the next thing to do, once you have your rhythm improvisation done, is to maybe change the notes that you're playing. The idea that we just used in the right hand, which was 3 bars of the same string and then changing it once you get to the B in the left hand, can also be used when you start playing different notes. We start out by finding a little pattern to improvise upon. I'm going to start by using 3 strings, the E, the F sharp and the G. I'm still using the E as my starting point because that is the left hand starting point as well. And it's also going to be the end of my improvisation, just so that we're in the same key when we end. My little pattern is going to be, and I can just repeat that when I'm playing the left hand. So I can just put everything down one string. Practice that first. And end on E. Once you know that you can play that, start playing around with the little pattern. Maybe I'll be doing 3 times the same thing, and the 4th time I'll just play it downwards. So something like this. I'm going to do the same thing, and when I get to the B, I'm going to improvise what I do there. Draw upon your experience, the things that you've just practiced, and play something different once you get to the B in the left hand. So it would be 3 times the same thing. Improvise on the B. What I've done now was come up with a little pattern that I actually use a few times, and then I improvise something. So my improvisation is actually only 1 bar out of the 4 that I'm doing. There's many different patterns that you can use. Here you can also change what you're doing in the right hand, but try and keep that little pattern going for a few times. And you can change the rhythm. So for instance, if I now come up with the pattern E, D, B, I could do it in the same way. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I could do that, or I could actually change maybe the rhythm to a 3/4 bar. So I would do 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So up to now, I've been kind of sticking to using the D and the F when I'm on the B in the left hand. But you can get more experimental and just play whichever string you feel like. Only on those 3 beats that we're doing, and then return to your pattern. So 1, 2, 3. You might notice that once I'm improvising, anything goes, and some of it sounds better than other things, but that's okay. Remember that you have to keep going and always end on your bass note, which is the E in this case. I hope you have some ideas for improvising, and I hope to see you next week in a video where we'll do a new cookie.